regular season is over for Tennessee football. A home win number 8 on the year after defeating rival Vanderbilt 48-24 with Josh Ward from Josh and Swain. I am Vince Ferrara. Cool thing about today, obviously Tennessee wanted to get to 8 wins. You needed to take care of business, Josh, was a lot of seniors had a big hand in them performing this well and getting the win.
Yeah, started with Joe Milton to Ramel Keaton, and good finish for those two guys who had worked a lot over the last few years together and developed a good relationship, and then to have that success on the field. The tight ends, seniors that played an important role in what this offense was this season, had a big day. And then, just across the board is a big senior class, and I know some guys have an opportunity to come back, and that's the unknown of it. But they had a chance to finish on a really positive note in terms of being able to blow out an opponent. Vanderbilt's not any good at all, and Tennessee made that obvious. So Tennessee did exactly what it hoped to do going out there.
Banged up offensive line, and I think considering that, even though the run game maybe wasn't as dominant as we've seen, Josh Heupel said in the postgame, I've never been around anything like that where so many guys are injured and guys getting hurt when they were already shorthanded during the game, like Cooper Mays. Yeah, that O-line hung together pretty decent. Yeah,
Cooper Mays was out there limping around. Gerald Mincy has been more of an emergency option, it seemed, and he was playing through the game. So, they had to fight through not having Spraggins, and he is one of those seniors that has a chance to come back. I think there's a good chance that could happen for him at right guard, but they had to battle through different injury issues throughout the season, starting with Cooper Mays at the beginning of the year. And that's why another senior, Ollie Lane, was praised by Josh Heupel for the role that he played. He's very much respected by his teammates. He's not a center naturally, but they needed him at that position at different times this season and to close out the season.
A number of guys, maybe, 8 to 10 of them, that decided not to come out and participate in senior day. Do you assume that those guys are coming back, or do you think there's still decisions for some of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good chance. Cooper appears to be one of those guys, and he would maybe be the most important senior on that list because, of one, how good he is.
Right.
He's an all-SEC potential player, and the position that he plays, the guy that can help drive the offense and help Nico. So, if they can get Cooper and Javonte Spraggins back together at center and right guard, that can help answer questions immediately about what the offensive line looks like, because without those two guys, assuming they were to move on, we don't know exactly what they are left or right at all 5 positions. So if they get those two guys back and they can establish some of the interior, that would help a lot. But, they can get some help on both sides of the ball, potentially, and on the lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
And even if some of those guys on that O-line, the reserves, did well in this game, you can't make long-term assessments off of Vanderbilt, because you mentioned how bad Vanderbilt is.
Yeah, it's just an awful team. Yeah. It's more similar to when we see Tennessee play a UConn or UTSA earlier in the season. We say, well, okay, that team is what it is. It's more about just Tennessee did what it's supposed to in this game, because we saw the Austin Peay game earlier this season, and Tennessee did not do that. But in terms of play today, anything that it would project for the future, like the conversation with Nico, who we got to see in the fourth quarter, to me, it's been more about, okay, if you want to see him play, I get it, because he's a talented player. I don't think his reps in the Vanderbilt game are going to have any impact on how good he is in the future.
Right.
He'll be whatever he is in the future because of film study, weight training, understanding of the offense, what he learns from the coaches, and how he develops there. Playing in the Vanderbilt game is not going to help him.
Yeah, and Joe Milton kind of referenced it, that sort of he wanted to go out with a bang in this game and sort of hand the baton. He uses the term baton, but to his guy, Nico. He has been very supportive. And for Joe Milton to play this way, with a lot of people asking and fans saying that Nico should start the game, and he handled it really well. He's clearly very motivated. Accounting for 6 touchdowns, it hasn't been done by a quarterback since, I guess, 2009. And very few, Jimmy Hines pointed this out, very few historically have accounted for 6 touchdowns in a game.
Yeah, in a final game at home, there's really no better way to go out individually and with the team success to go with it, which is going to happen when you score 6 touchdowns. So, he played really well. We can put to the side the opponent. I mean, he delivered some balls that those are throws that NFL teams will look at. Yep. So, and people know about his physical ability. It's been difficult to put it together a lot of the time this season for him, not against Vanderbilt. So he'll always be able to look back and remember this game as well as will some of his teammates.
And as Joe Milton pointed out in the postgame, Joe can't be Joe without the other 10.
That is true. Joe crowned himself a couple times.
He did
during the game. So, and that spot, I might remind him, it is Vanderbilt, man. But he was having fun, and I think fans had a good time. It was a long game, a lot of stoppages, penalties, a melee as described by the head official.
Right.
But so it's a weird game, but one that was easily on Tennessee's side.
Yeah, and Joe Milton, he admitted that he got emotional on Friday. He was here, he was kind of walking by himself, and it hit him. And then he said, "Well, the coaches were in front of me, so I had to stop crying to show that I was tough."
Right.
But and then how about Jacob Warren and Joe Milton thanking reporters in the post game? I mean, they even got a little, not emotional, but reflective on what we do, because we do work hard.
Well, Jacob Warren is a very good guy,
so
you can count on Jacob,
of course,
to show appreciation and proper respect. But that is like we've joked, that's future president Jacob Warren.
Right.
Like that is kind of his. He's just really impressive. How he has represented the University of Tennessee. He was a media day guy, like Joe was. So it's a senior class that we're not going to look back at this season as one of the most memorable for Tennessee, but it is a senior class that, for the most part, was a part of last year's 11-win season. There were some guys that came in like Callan Castles and Campbell as a transfer that weren't a part of 2022, of course, but this season they wanted to do more. Ramel Keaton talked about that. They wanted to accomplish more than going 8-4, but they were also a part of last year's team and helped raise the standard to where fans can now look and say, I wish we would have done more. Or the players can say, kind of disappointed with the result, even with some of the good that came out of it. The fact that 8-4 can be looked at in any kind of disappointing fashion, considering how the last 15 years have gone, they're a part of raising that standard. That I totally agree with what Ramel Keaton said.
And a number of those guys not bolting when they had opportunities, and plenty of them did, whether it was when Josh Heupel first got here or as the years have gone on.
Yeah, that to me comes back to representing the program and being a part of the university and the connection they've been able to make with fans. And it started with, Josh Heupel comes in and the players deciding, do we come back or not? Or guys who transferred in, like Joe Milton, as an example, or Callan Castles this year. But it's in the NIL era. There was a chance, as this program was rebounding and starting to have more success, they had more chances than any players in the past have had to connect with fans in the process. So that will be part of what fans are able to remember, games or elsewhere, where they were able to be around these players, and that will continue in the future. And the more you win, obviously, the fonder the memories that fans and players will have together. But this program is in a good position to build off what they've done this year and the last couple of years and try to compete for championships in the future.
And Josh Heupel was asked about that. Do you like where the program is, and how should fans think about this season and where the program is? And he said, like we do. I'm proud of the guys, but there's still disappointment there because they expect. And he said there was never a time where the team didn't expect to win. So I do think there's still plenty of positives. Today, third down defense was outstanding. I mean, obviously Vanderbilt really struggled. Still too many penalties, and then they gave us late touchdowns and things like that. What else stood out about today?
Yeah, I mean, penalties, that's a big picture conversation with Josh Heupel's teams. It has been since he was the head coach at UCF.
Yep.
They're just typically at the very bottom when it comes to, or the top, whichever way you rank it.
Right.
It's a problem. So against a team like Vanderbilt, it's not, and Vanderbilt committed a bunch of penalties. But in big games, it can be something you try to figure out. Defensively, it was pretty chippy out there. Tyler Barron, he's a senior. He had a good day with some of the plays he made. He probably had some decisions that he either liked back or he got away with,
right?
By the officials. But he was a really good player. He was a guy that talking about Tyler Barron. Ronnie Gardner in August said, he's more about Tennessee, and it's not just about Tyler. And his game is taking a big step forward, and I think that showed on the field this season.
All right, and now discussion moves on to a lot of different things. I mean, one of them is a bowl game. Real quick, what do you think about bowl potential now that we've seen not all the results, but some of them here in the SEC, including Tennessee?
Yeah, Florida Bowl game is very possible. I think Jacksonville is very much in play in the Gator Bowl, which would be Friday, December 29th, I believe. So we'd see about an opponent, of course. But yeah, winning was about getting to 8 wins. You want to win in a big way so you feel better about how it closes out, and there's a chance for a Florida Bowl game. So if this is a disappointing season, that means things are in better shape.
Yeah, helps with recruiting, obviously, when you're there. And
that's the next step for Josh Heupel, recruiting and transfer portal, because it's about to get pretty wild here in the next month, and it's going to go quickly because players jump in and teams go after them quickly. And Tennessee needs help at a number of positions for next year because a lot of the guys on this team will be tasked with helping them win more games next year. There are some players that aren't on the team yet that will be tasked with that too.
I mean, it's unbelievable how many things are going on in so many different directions that are going. Obviously, transfer portal in and out, then bowl decisions in or out. And then obviously you have those early enrollees. You got to get to signing day, obviously, too. That's another thing.
Yeah.
And then who's going to practice early and who's not. I mean, there's just so many things in reshaping the decisions of the seniors. I mean, there's just so many moving parts. I don't know how the coaches do it, but Josh Heupel said you got to have great staff, great communicators. And then, oh, by the way, what about coaches potentially getting other opportunities elsewhere or being offered jobs on your staff? I mean, it really is so difficult. Couldn't imagine for those coaches.
Yeah, players come and go too.
Right.
December's, I bet it ranks at the top as their busiest month of the year.
Yeah. All right, Josh, great job. Appreciate all your help all season. And we will talk. You can hear Josh and Swain coming up on Monday, and we'll have a non-football game week for the first time. But appreciate y'all.
Comes and goes quickly.
Yeah, it does. All right, listen to all the coverage on Monday, all of our local shows. John Wilkerson and I will start with Sports Talk, then followed by the Eric Gaines Show with Brian Rice, and of course Josh and Swain, and then Tyler and Will, and then of course Sunday Sports Sound Off with Jimmy Himes and Tim Irwin. He'll break it all down for you, and we'll have continued reaction and all the coverage and stuff. It goes down here in the off season. I'm Vince Ferrara. Thank you so much for watching all season long, and you can make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already for all the latest videos. You'll see Josh and Swain oftentimes with their show live, and then everything else we'll have for you through the entire year. That'll do it from Neyland Stadium, Tennessee.
Hopefully no planes or helicopters in the studio.
Well, the band decided to play during the postgame press conference with Josh Heupel. So Tennessee defeats Vanderbilt 48-24 on Senior Day. You guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon here on 99.1, the Sports Animal.